Welcome back to another Stock Market Open live stream. Okay, we have CPI revisions coming out soon. A lot of folks are, those are actually coming out tomorrow, but it's worth talking about today. A lot of people are a little nervous about those given what they implied last year. They basically suggested that inflation hadn't slowed as much as people had hoped. So that ended up being a big morning. Well, actually, it was a big period of time. Last year sort of undid some of that inflation progress, or at least made folks feel like there was some undoing of inflation progress. So that, unfortunately, we will see again. Well, I mean, not necessarily. We will get the revisions again. Those revisions will be out tomorrow. And let's see what we have in those revisions. There we go. This is the chart that I saved up for us. Take a look at this. This shows you. It's a little hard to tell initially, but if you look at the white line, you can see the 2022 core CPI initial estimate, and then you could see, you could see how that drops below that 4% dotted line there in January of 2023, and that revision pulled it up like 0.6%. And so that substantial push up there really made folks a little nervous. At least at the beginning of last year. I don't know that, I mean, obviously, we'll see how their data gets revised, but I mean, I say it every day. I have such a hard time seeing where the inflation is, especially when I look at companies and I look at price increases, even at Chipotle. Chipotle, which is killing it, by the way. I mean, the stock is absolutely crushing it. They just have figured out how to make a lot of money off of rice and beans. And I have to say, the food is delicious. Every time I talk Chipotle, I get hungry for Chipotle. But anyway, you know, even they are talking about price increases of maybe 1 to 2%. And that's a year-over-year figure, I'm pretty sure, that they're referencing in their earnings call. And I'm like, that's not horribly inflationary. You know, that's pretty consistent with what the Fed's looking for. So who knows? But anyway, these revisions will be something that a lot of people are nervous about going into tomorrow, especially in the finance space. Now, as far as catalysts for today, really the big thing coming up is going to be CPI, but that's next week on the 13th, which is Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. I'm double checking. Oh, it might be Tuesday. Hold on. Whatever the 13th is when CPI is. It is Tuesday. Okay, good. So, but today we are going to get initial jobless claims. We're actually going to get those in about a minute. It's kind of fun. So we'll see what initial claims do. Well, last read was 224. Current read was 220. And continuing claims we're looking for 1875. What's just wild, though, is if you jump into the Atlanta Fed real GDP now, tracker or predictor, I think we should say. Tracker implies it's an accurate number, although it's been pretty good. Right here, look at that GDP predictor. The last estimate came out yesterday. And we're going to get another one later today. Oh, that's interesting. It's 2 in a row here. But anyway, last estimate was 3.4. That was down a little bit from about just over 4.2% at the beginning of the month. So you've got the tracker sort of volatile between basically 3.5 and low 4s, which just seems wild. All right, here we go for initial claims. Give me about 10 seconds here. All right, looking for 220, and we got 218. Wow, that's almost a perfect estimate. That's boring. 1875 for continuing claims. We got 1871. Honestly, the estimates should get better in a normal environment. And I think that's something that we want to remember is they should be less shocking in a normal environment. So the more these numbers align, so to speak, the more we generally think we're in a more stable environment. So hopefully that same thing is true for the CPI figures. Continuing claims, as revised, were down about 4,000. So basically the same thing. So no real move there at all. Again, it's a good thing because if we can actually make estimates and then we can be somewhat close to them, then things should be a little bit more chill in markets. Should be. We'll see. All right, looking at bonds. So let's take a peek at bonds. We've got, we're up 5.2 basis points on the 10-year, and the 2 years up about 2.4. So I've got this sort of bull steepening. Let me see here. Oh, 10-2. 10-2, 10-2, 10-2. Yeah, still sitting at 30 though. Boring. Okay, yeah, we already covered that. So, all right, very well. So now let's get into some individual stonks. Ooh, and a quick peek at oil though. Oil, yeah, back at 80 on Brent. That started pushing a little bit as the U.S. GDP numbers started coming in a little stronger. I realized, and I don't know if it's directly related, but it seemed like Brent has started trying to push up again. It could also have to do with Israel, but I don't know. Hamas, when they first attacked, didn't actually really create as much stress in the oil market as people thought it might. Okay, let's see what we have with Disney, since Disney reported... What did Disney report? Okay, here we go. Wow. They don't know how to keep their mouth shut, apparently. Jeez, goodness gracious, that's a lot. Okay. Subscribers, 149.6 versus 151, so slight miss. Revenue, slight miss, 23.55. Entertainment revenue, 9.98, slight miss. Sports revenue beat, 4.84 billion versus 462. Experiences, operating income, 311 versus 299, so a beat. Experiences, top line revenue beat. Experiences are almost always what carry this company. Experiences would be your cruise ships, your Disney vacations. I think that's just where people are very willing to part with their money. And the stock's up at 106 right now, so nice little recovery from that 80 where it was. Let's see. ESPN subscribers miss a bit, 25.2 versus 26 estimated. Fiscal year adjusted EPS expected to be 460 versus the 427 expected. So that's where you're getting some of this push, even though some of the numbers are missing a little bit. Disney boosts cash dividend by 50% to invest $1.5 billion in Fortnite maker Epic Games. Oh, interesting. Throwing money into Epic Games. See, they got to make like Fortnite-style movies. Who knows? Maybe that's what they're up to. Yeah. All right. Well, good for Disney. You know, it's good for them mostly because you've had this massive CEO transition back to the one who essentially said he was retired. You know, Bob Iger coming back and Bob Chapek kind of getting the boot a little bit, getting blamed for some of the mismanagement. And the buck's got to stop somewhere, so somebody's got to get played. But good for them. So there's an exciting beat by Disney, even though some of those numbers missed. Hey, that sounds oddly familiar to what we were talking about yesterday. Anyway, okay, so that's Disney. Same time, I was reading this article this morning, and I thought it was funny because I was kind of complaining about this yesterday. I was complaining about how Costco is the top 10 spot in QQQ, the NASDAQ 100. Why? Why? You know, people think of the NASDAQ 100 as the tech index. It's really tech and innovation. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Costco. That's the innovative one. Got it. Okay. All right. I guess a membership to buy your food is innovative enough to be in the NAS. And the stock's just been crushing it. But really, if you align it with the Qs, it's basically, I mean, it's got like a beta of like 82 with the Qs. And then its beta with the S&P 500, where it's the 21st top spot, is almost perfect. So it's sort of like as the S&P 500 goes up, like a bet on Costco is almost like a bet on the SPY, and vice versa. It's very interesting. But just this morning now, I'm seeing Greenlight Capital was forced to shift its strategy as the growth of passive investing and algorithmic trading transformed markets. I view markets as fundamentally broken, says David Einhorn. Okay. Passive investors have no opinion about value. They're going to assume everybody else has done the work. This is interesting. This is just somebody else basically complaining about the indexation of markets, which is interesting. And it does enable a company like Costco to trade for a 4-peg, which is really, really rich. But, you know, whatever. So I thought that was fascinating. Okay. So let's see what else is going on. Specifically, let's take a little peek at what the suits are saying this morning. Okay. Let's see. What do we have here? Dow had few problems leaping over 5,000 hurdle. The S&P also looks potentially vulnerable. Whatever. These are all boring. Nah, that's all boring. Okay, take a look at what's going on with PayPal here pre-market. Okay, PayPal. This was yesterday afternoon. Total payments 409 million. So beat on total payment volume, beat on Q4 net revenue, beat on payment volume. We saw that. 2024 adjusted EPS miss. $5.10 versus the estimate of $5.49. RIP. And Q4 EPS beat. So it's the profit forecast that missed here. All right. Always the guide. Okay. Take a closer look here at PayPal. But don't we see if we have their earnings call yet? We might pull up their earnings call and see what they've got going on. Let's listen in here for a moment. I'll pull it up. Hold on a sec. All right. Well, that'll take me a little moment. I don't know why it does that. That's okay. We'll pull up the PayPal earnings call quickly, and what I'd like to see is is it a growth problem or what's going on with their bottom line as to why these knuckleheads can't get their company to perform better. PayPal is one I've been watching for a while, and you kind of start losing faith in the more you watch them. I think their big announcement is an example of that. Okay, so let's go to demand. No, earnings. Well, that's going to be at every page because of earnings call. How about, let's see here. Demand. There's demand. Let's see. Okay. Focused on innovation and driving demand, whatever, leaning into demand generation, and actually solving the biggest challenge our merchants have, which is finding new customers. End-to-end experience. I wonder if there's just too much competition now for PayPal and Venmo. How do you tie into your non-transaction OPEX of flat? Yep. Well, some of this has to do with Braintree, a company they acquired. I'll have to take a little bit more of a deeper look into this, but I'm trying to understand what kind of movement we have going on here at PayPal, where this EPS miss really came from.
For President Trump.
Which we can go to their financials, but I'm not so heavily interested in that. I want to see a little bit more about their forecast because it's the 2024 number that missed. The end of 2023 numbers were fine. The company's gone through a significant amount of growth, a lot of acquisitions. I generally don't like acquisitions. I think the more you acquire companies, the more you kind of just merge two different cultures together. Oh, well. Oh, well. All right, let's jump in here.
Something I'm really interested in doing.
Let me ask you, but we don't have that much time, and
Sure.
Republicans said, all right, we don't want to give money to Ukraine and Israel if we can't do the border. Then, Mitch McConnell heard them and got a great senator to try to put something together. Senator Langford, who knows the issue, has been down the border many times. So something gets put together that might not have been perfect. We know about, don't let the good be the enemy of the perfect. So put that together, and then Republicans say, no, we don't want that, but we don't want border included with this. Now they're back to considering standalone bills for Israel and Ukraine, which they didn't want to do in the first place. I mean, the average American out there is like, get it together, both sides.
Yeah. No doubt. I'd say that's a poor characterization of what actually happened, though. What happened was the president said he would veto standalone aid for Israel. In the midst of the greatest crisis our ally in the Middle East is facing, the President of the United States and Chuck Schumer both have said DOA for individual assistance for only Israel. Their base will not allow
It's dead on
deal
arrival.
with the crisis at hand. Therefore, cobbling together more assistance for Ukraine, some assistance for our border was a package they put together. The challenge of the package they put together is it still allowed 5,000 people a day to come to our country. And over a leap year, that's a little over 1.8 million illegal immigrants still coming to our country. That does not sound like securing the southern border. To secure the southern border, you have to first start with a physical impediment, a smart wall that sees below the tunnels, where the tunnels are, and above the wall as well. That was not a part of the conversation.
That's it. We need a smart wall. All right, whatever. All right, I found it. PayPal suggested here that 2024 is going to be a transition year focused on execution to position the business for long-term success. And I think a lot of people look at that and they're like, wait a minute. What were the last 2 years? Those were the transition years. Y'all were supposed to catch up. So what's taken? That's interesting. That could definitely be a contributor to some of the issues here that we're seeing. PayPal, and then of course you have here we're overall assuming consumer spending and activity level will remain consistent. We expect full year 2024 non-GAAP EPS to be roughly in line with the prior year of 510. Underpinning our outlook that we expect roughly flat transaction margin dollars. In other words, no margin improvement. So the company is getting punished for either not growing EPS or not growing bottom line. And that's not uncommon. Investors really want to see growth in either top line or bottom line. Ideally, both. Ideally. So, anyway. All right. I don't know that. Do I want to listen to more Tim Scott?
Before we even get to the conversation around the hundreds of billions of dollars that have come with reducing the sanctions from an oil perspective. But as it relates to bank stability, certainly we've been communicating with OCC, as you said, in the New York area. There are some tremors out there. OCC is the primary regulator of the banking question. We're going to continue to monitor that situation. But what we need to understand, Joe, and you know it well, I mean, you're an expert at this. The bottom line is that capital standards is not what the challenge was with SVB. That was a liquidity issue, not a capital issue. And so when you increase the capital on the sidelines, you reduce the number of entrepreneurs that have access to the loan that may change their future and employ their community. When you do that, you also reduce the number of homeowners that can have their first home, the American dream. You have millennials in high interest rates, high inflation, with more capital on the sidelines because the regulators having little access, the lowest access to a home. 40 years, Joe. 40 years.
Well, we got to go. You have not been, President Trump has not offered you the Veep spot yet.
He has not.
Okay. All right. Time. Still plenty of time. You'll let us know. Will you call
The
us?
Veep spot. Oh, man. All right. So, Citigroup looking at weighing 10% of wealth employees in London. Okay, well, how many are there? Like 100? Just one. Yeah, okay, all right. Citigroup is weighing to move 50 or cut 51 roles. Okay, whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong, it sucks when people lose their job, but that's such a small number. It's just doesn't seem like it deserves a headline here. GoPro slides on revenue miss. Okay, let's take a peek at GoPro. Let's see what GoPro's earnings have. By the way, today we hope to be up and running again with the new eHack page. We've already transitioned it. Now we just have to get into the mechanics of me updating in there a little faster, and I want to adjust a little bit of the formatting, some of the extra spacing there between the bullets, and so we're going to work on cleaning that up a little bit. But basically, and I also want to get rid of the read more button, because there really is nothing to read more. It's basically now you can have your dark mode. A lot of y'all have been asking for that, and we're working on implementing the categories. So it's just a little bit of an adjustment, which is kind of cool. So stay tuned for that. But there's still a few quirks to get out of there. Okay, GoPro adjusted EPS 2 cents versus the estimate of 2.2. Revenue 295.4 versus 326 on just 2 estimates, though. So you don't really have a lot of estimates on GoPro, but a miss either way. Then we are looking at... Ooh. Anheuser-Busch is trying to magic away the lingering controversy around Bud Light. The world's biggest brewer has released its new Super Bowl ad for beer. It features Post Malone, Peyton Manning, and Dana White. They appear to be a group of friends on a night out in response to wishes granted by a new character, the Bud Light Genie, who is unleashed from a bottle of beer. The so-called Mega Brew will need more than wizardry to move on from the backlash of the partnership with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney last year. This is very interesting. The company's stock, by the way, is almost back to where it was before the madness. If you go to Anheuser-Busch, which is Bud stock, take a look at this. Let's go to the week chart. The Mulvaney drama was a 2023 drama. I want to say it was right over here, summer. And we're almost back to where we were. This is on the week chart here. Very interesting. So, let's see. Share of U.S. beer retail market. Change year over year. Bud Light down 2.1%. That's year over year. Just wait until you get year over year to the summer. It's going to be down like 20%. Yeah, there you go. Dollar sales of Bud Light across all retail outlets fell 20.4% in 2024. Yeah, so year over year. Like, you're in February. How could you compare year over year now? It doesn't really matter. I mean, I guess you could, because, like, you'd have to slow down now to compare. Like, so it's recovered. But I want to see the whole, like, how bad was it, like, when it was bad? That I think is really interesting. So, but that does imply there's also been some recovery. Anyway, okay. So, what else? Next. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, yesterday I was looking at a little bit more on the research side, just in China. And boy, the amount of negativity that is coming from China, part of me, it keeps making me think, like, when is the buy the dip opportunity on China? And I have no idea. I've been pretty anti-China, but the amount of negativity is so crazy. It's almost like the amount of negativity Tesla gets. Oh, comparing Tesla to China. But this is the K-Web, the Chinese Technology Index. You can see the downtrend. We're not at the lowest level where we were, and that is somewhere around October 21st. But China's been a tough market. I know some of the institutional wealth managers over at JPM, they literally call China uninvestable right now. Just think to myself, are we at, like, peak bearishness or what? So, very interesting. All right. Next. Ha ha ha. Novo Nordisk A couple of CEOs from, say, food companies have been calling me, says the CEO of Novo Nordisk. Declined to name names, saying they're interested in how the drugs work and how fast they would roll out. They're scared about it. Food companies. Well, you know, so far, pretty much every food company that's been asked about these GLP drugs, I said, oh no, we're not noticing any differences. We're not noticing any change in diet or, you know, the amount of calories people are eating. But that is interesting that you've got some folks calling in. So some people are speculating, could it be Hershey's that calls in or some of the candy companies? Who knows?
Do you continue to believe that that's going to be the trend? And what does that mean economically?
I think it really bodes well for us. We have such an amazing population of 13 and under people on our platform, but there's a lot more 13 and over people in the United States and around the world. And as we see that growth in those segments, once again, powered by the amazing content on our platform that more and more is supporting people of all ages, it's an amazing new market, and it's much larger than our existing market. So the big market coupled with the growth there really is a great future direction for us.
You know, in many ways, you were a pioneer of what maybe people would describe as the metaverse today. I'm curious what your reaction was to Apple Vision Pro and what you think that represents.
Good question.
And to the extent you think Roblox is going to be a part of it.
Yes.
Hey, great device. Want to call out in Q4 also our new partners, Sony as well as Meta. We introduced the PlayStation and the Meta Quest. And a part of our vision there is all of that content that we have on Roblox runs on those two devices. Apple Vision Pro is another amazing device, both for virtual reality as well as mixed reality and augmented. And so we're looking at that device, and of course, we'll be on it someday too.
Is that something that's on your?
Doesn't sound like a priority.
You say that that's going to be a big market. It's too small a market because it's a pro device at a very expensive price point. How do you think about that?
I won't share when we would expect to release on that. And as our community knows, there's a set of other devices along with Vision Pro that makes sense for Roblox. But over time, we really have this vision of being on all devices.
Okay, that's the second time he's deflected from the Apple Vision Pro. As soon as they ask Apple, he goes, well, we also have partners with Sony and Meta. When are you going to be on it? Well, eventually we'll be on all platforms. So in other words, it's not a priority for Roblox.
What are you doing on your end of it, and how are you using AI?
Hey, but we've been really doing AI at Roblox behind the scenes for 4 years on text, on moderation, and now on voice as well. We arguably have one of the largest real-time voice safety systems all running on Roblox AI. Our AI platform powers real-time translation on text that we just introduced on Monday. You know, that vision of people around the world of different languages coming together. And it's going to power future things, automatic avatar creation. And ultimately, if you or I wanted to make a virtual George Washington, we'd be able to do that. So we've been doing it for 4 years. We have a great platform, and we continue to leverage it.
Right. Dave, it's always great to see you. Congratulations on.
Yeah. That doesn't sound very optimistic about the Apple headset. I actually really enjoy it. But I don't know how much people care about my opinion on the tech stuff. I don't know. I was thinking about doing another video. I used it in an Uber, a plane, and in the NICU. Which that sounds terrible, but let's be clear. I was sitting in the NICU for like 8 hours, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this on for like 30 minutes. I need to a break from life here for a moment, and it's phenomenal because tell me, I don't know, maybe I should make a video about it, but it was pretty neat because as the little baby girl Summer went to sleep, I put like my little work windows right above her. And so her and I had the transparent view on. So like her bed was right here and I could watch her with my monitors up. And I'm like, damn, that's really cool. Like I actually thought it was freaking awesome. So anyway. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Like our little boy, Jack, he has the Meta Quest. and you know, he's into it, but I can't stand the meta thing. I get dizzy, and it's well, okay, I'm just gonna put it in the words of Lauren, my wife. She's very blunt, and I love it. So she tried the Apple headset, and I'm like, so you know, how does this compare to other headsets? She's like, oh, it doesn't. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, this is way higher quality. I'm like, okay, well, on one part, it's like, it better be for the money. All right. So, what was I looking at? Ah, yes. So this I thought was this is very consistent. This is a piece from Goldman. This from Goldman is very, very similar. And I have to be careful, like, reading stuff that sort of reiterates what I think. I generally try to, like, if I start reading stuff that sounds too familiar to what I've already been thinking, I generally stop. So I'm like, all right, A, I got it. B, I don't need confirmation bias. But it's very interesting. Goldman is reiterating the very low consumer confidence still weighing on consumption in China. And if you take a peek right here, you've got Chinese household consumption growth measured in year-over-year terms slowed modestly in Q4, despite a more favorable base effect in Q3. The slowdown in consumption was broad-based. Weaker transportation, entertainment, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de. And then also they refer to the property market downturn as well. So I don't necessarily think this is much of a surprise. This gives you a little bit of a look at spending here. I want to point specifically to here. This is where you had the reopening. And so the reopening was supposed to be, you know, enthusiastic. But you're already sort of declining from well, you've been declining basically from the first couple months of enthusiasm. So we'll see how that continues to progress. However, which was interesting, auto sales had actually rebounded to levels that are higher than 2019. And then retail sales growth decelerated on weaker offline goods sales. Where was I? I was with Lauren the other day somewhere. I don't know why we were where we were. But we were complaining about how we kind of just hate going to stores. Like, well, I don't know if there's one thing when you take little kids to store, that's kind of cool. But when it's just Lauren and I, it's like, I'd rather go for a walk on the beach or something than go to the mall. Anyway, I don't know if it's like post-COVID turmoil.
If they monetize this, they will likely announce some sort of a cloud infrastructure. We're probably a few ways away. Get into the same AWS, Azure, Google Cloud type of business.
Oh, Farmer Brett. Farmer Brett nailed it. I hate taking my kids to restaurants. That's almost impossible. I could do one child at a time in a restaurant. But it was one of the... See, we were thinking about getting a Sprinter van because, you know, now we have 7 kids. And we're like, okay, wait a minute. When are we actually ever going to take all of them to a restaurant? Probably not for like 6 years.
Interest, and they can charge $10 a month for this. I think that's a significant opportunity that most investors believe Apple's asleep at the wheel at AI. That's the opposite.
And very quickly, I'm guessing Microsoft not there just because they've already seen so much benefit from them. You're not ignoring their AI.
Exactly. You want to go to where ultimately the unknown opportunities are. I think Llama and I think personalized AI with Apple, those are the two biggest unknowns or biggest opportunities relative to where Street's at.
Gene, thank you very much. Gene Munster.
Thank you.
Big hitter.
Yeah. So taking a peek at Goldman's point of view on PayPal. Concerns 2024 outlook flat. Yep, that was the big concern. That's what I called out as well. Let's see here. PayPal is a two-sided financial platform that facilitates digital service payments. PayPal's consumer platform strategy, using basically it as a single wallet or a super app. PayPal's merchant platform, robust solutions for checkout. Yeah, they hold a buy rating on them. I don't... Their price target's $74. Boring. Yeah, that stock's been so flat and poopy-doopy. feels almost better to take that money and throw it into Palantir. I still like Palantir even after it's run. Okay, let's see what else the suits are saying. Let's see if Morgan Stanley's got anything interesting for us. Morning note. Let's see. Solid auctions. Global equity performance varied as European stock markets flashed red. This is just a quick little summary of yesterday. I don't really know. Do people care that much about those little details? Like, wake up and read those little things? I mean, JPM does it too. They have this sort of morning briefing. But at the risk of sounding like a broken record, there are a few macro catalysts, and the positive momentum is likely to continue into next week's CPI print. Depending on the outcome of the CPI print, we may see momentum continue into NVIDIA earnings on February 21st. Can NVIDIA catch lightning in a bottle again, propelling markets higher, or does this become a market clearing event? That would be like, oh no, NVIDIA missed and everything dumps, right? Financial conditions have shifted from a headwind to a tailwind for 2024. Combined with strong credit creation, there is an upside to growth over the coming quarters and inflation. Oh, that's interesting. I see. I don't see that. That was a T.S. Lombard piece I was reading this weekend as well. They're like, hey, oh no, I'm sorry, it wasn't T.S. Lombard. It was Nomura Research. This weekend they're like, hey, the second wave of inflation, it's coming. It's just gonna take longer to come. It's now gonna come in the second half of 2024 or in 2025, but it's gonna come. I'm like, okay, Kamala.
A year ago, that was well beyond what any analysts who follow the company anticipated in terms of savings there. They're talking about it getting to. They're talking about DTC. To your point about growth, they are talking about getting it to profitability by the fourth quarter of this calendar fiscal year.
All right, let's take a moment just to get a little crypto update in. So we're at almost 45,000 right now, which, I mean, this is a pop of like $2,000 here. Look at this. We this is the minute chart. Let's go back to about the hour chart. Yeah, look at that. We've been kind of stuck on the Fibby line for a while, and so all of a sudden, yesterday we got this pop off on BTC. Let's look for the full cryptocurrency monitor here. Spot ETF still showing steady inflows. Oh, I'm actually surprised by that. So we expect Bitcoin having narrative to gather momentum over the next few weeks and help us get through the psychological 50,000 barrier. Oh, well, we'll see. Okay, what else? Chinese Bitcoin miners find new crypto haven in Ethiopia. Okay. Oh. Oh, wow. The CEO of Hut 8 just got replaced. Wow, how interesting. I was going to meet them on February 21st until I actually, just like 3 days ago, had to cancel because of the triplets. I felt bad about that. But that's very interesting. Now, some dude's going to take over. Effective immediately. Huh. Increasing competition amongst miners. Short sale report. January 18th. Bloody, bloody, bloody. Wow. All right.
Bob, I heard. I've talked to Nelson.
Yeah, that was the meta. This Hut 8 news came out late yesterday.
My trust owns it. It was a 79. They call it 116 to 79. Even using authentic stupidity as opposed to artificial intelligence just doesn't work. And I felt had. Sometimes.
Sundeep has a question here. Hershey's reported their salty snack sales were down 24%. Why? That's a lot. I wonder how that compares to the magnitude of usual fluctuations, Max. That does seem like a lot. I'll look at their stuff in a moment here. But so, okay. Let's be super simple about it. What happens when there's drama on the Red Sea? Well, ships get attacked. So companies that operate ships are like, yo, we're going to have to charge more because this is some bull crap. So they charge more. So they're like, look, you want your container to go through the Red Sea, it's $4,000 instead of $2,000, or $5,000 instead of $2,000. Fine. Some companies are going to be like, take the long way and charge me $3,000. Others are going to be like, here's the $5,000, get it through the Red Sea, figure it out. Okay. So the cost goes up. For whom? Well, the person hiring the shipping company, or the entity hiring the shipping company. Okay. Well, let's say, for example, that's Tesla. Let's just use a relatable example. Tesla's like, yo, we need these chips from China at Giga Berlin. Get them through the Red Sea. Okay, we'll do it, but it's $5,000 per container. Great, here's your $5,000. So now Tesla pays extra to get the shipping done through the Red Sea. What does that have to do with consumer prices? Zero. Because Tesla's ability to raise its prices has more to do with interest rates and demand for sales at this point than it does with, and then obviously you've got the brand issues, than it does with what they're paying for freight. So that's why there's a disconnect between shipping lane drama and what companies charge. In fact, you could have, the inverse could also be true. You could have no shipping lane problems and a company raise its prices for other reasons. So they're not related. Well, I shouldn't say that. There is a relationship that would make the company want to raise its prices, but whether or not they can is different. Yeah. So okay. Anyway. All right. So where are we? Hershey, we've got EPS of $2.02. The estimate $1.95. That came out this morning. Net sales $266 versus $272. Slight miss. Sees 2024 EPS of 9 to 911. Net sales up 2 to 3%. Adjusted EPS for 2024 flat. Hershey falls 2.7% after reporting. CapEx is expected to be a little lower. Sees cocoa pricing limiting earnings growth, so commodities, doubling share buybacks. Very interesting. Hershey Investor Relations. I want to see where you saw that on the salty foods. Get the context on that would be kind of cool. So, press release. Let's see if they mentioned that here. Historic cocoa prices. Ah, there it is. All right. What's confectionery? Is that like chocolate or something? Confectionery. Rich in sugar. Ah, yeah. Like chocolate-covered strawberries. Okay. North America confectionery up 2.1%. North American salty snacks down 24.6%. But what salty snacks does Hershey make? That would be very interesting. This Hershey news is from this morning. It's from like now. So, they make popcorn. But what else do they make? That's all they make is popcorn? No. The salty business. Oh, here it is. Okay. Now 1.2 billion. Well, this might be a smaller segment of their business. Hershey planning aggressively to scale its salty snack business with ambitious goal to take skinny popcorn and homestyle pretzels from second to third place in their category. Yeah, so I mean, if all they do are pretzels and popcorn, they have a smaller exposure to salty foods. So I don't know how much that really matters, but that is interesting. And they didn't really give an explanation for that, did they? Salty. Not really. North American salty snacks were 205.2 million in the fourth quarter. Volume decreased 26.1%, reflecting a 16-point headwind from planned inventory declines. Oh, well, there you go. They reduced their inventory 16%. And then volume declined high single digits in softness with ready-to-eat popcorn. Well, That doesn't surprise me. I don't think that's any kind of real indicator there. But like the only time I feel like I crave popcorn is if I'm watching a movie. I don't know, maybe that's just been really good branding there, but interesting. All right, what else? What do we got? We are 29 minutes. No, sorry, we're 19 minutes away from the bell. But yeah. Will Trump be disqualified from the election? Supreme Court to decide today. Well, I think they're trying to decide on the immunity case. I don't know what the Supreme Court is going to do, but I think there are going to be riots if people can't vote for Trump. Literal riots. So I'm very nervous about what could happen if he's not on the ballot. That's all. So, yeah, hearing arguments today. Well, I think the appeals court gave them until like the 12th. Not necessarily that those have to align. So I think we've got another, potentially up to 4 days, but we'll see. Anyway. So, riot with guns. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. What else? Let's see. We've got... Let's take a look at the sticks. We haven't really done that this morning. Okie dokie then. Yeah, I'd love to talk politics in like a neutral way, but it's so challenging. Ralph Lauren just reported, did they? Let me see. Take a quick peek at that. Ralph Lauren sees Q4 revenue, XFX 2%, the estimate was 3%, but their comp sales beat 9% versus 4.6%. Adjusted EPS 4.17. Dude, everybody's still spending money. This is so crazy. That's wild. Good for them. RL is the ticker for Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren, yeah, look at that. Up 6%, all-time high now. It's crazy. AI bias meter. Ooh, that would be really cool. You know, like if I could have like a floating bias meter while you talk politics. Ooh. Now, that's a good idea. Anyway, okay. So, good job, Ralph Lauren. Wow. Diaper prices up 35%. Come on, man. The one time I need diaper prices to be lower. Diaper prices came to be in the U.S. around the same time. A large number of women joined the workforce during World War II and no longer had time to wash cloth versions. Oh, man, reusable diapers. Ugh. U.S. birth rate has stagnated. And retail price of a pack of diapers rose 35% from 2019 to 2023. Yeah, rip. Okay, take a peek at the sticks. Disney up 8%. Ralph Lauren up 5%. Coinbase really stuck in those 120s there. My bottom for the stock I set, and I sent an alert to everybody in the Stocks and Psychology and Money group, was 118. And then I set an alert when we were at 118. I'm like, hey, we're at 118, like cover short. Was sort of my original plan. And it hasn't touched 118 again since. I thought that was pretty cool. That was good timing. Palantir up again. I mean, it was up 30% one day, 8% the next day, 1% today. I think people forgot about Palantir as an actual AI play. But yeah, anyway, I'm tempted to just say, like, forget PayPal, throw it on Palantir. It's much, that's not financial advice, obviously. But, yeah, I like that bet a lot more. PayPal, there's PayPal. Even at $58, I mean, just, again, that's just the trajectory at this point of the company. 23andMe down at 67%. sense. Has anybody done 23andMe? I think 23andMe is kind of cool. New York Community Bank. They actually went positive yesterday on their guide, which was cool. NVIDIA down about 44 bips as we get into the open here. And then Intel's at 44 bucks. ARM. Let's see how ARM's doing today. Oh my gosh, 27%. Wow, good for them. Let's see what happened to ARM. Let's throw this on the minute chart here really quick. And then let's see. When did they go public? Because I think their dilutive event is 6 months. But clearly they're killing it since then. So they went public. Oh, they're coming up on that March 15th, 13th. You get the lockup expirations. Not a lot of the company is actually public. So you have a small little float. That's going to help move fluctuations here. But, I mean, if the earnings are good, and the earnings are good. So, ARM Holdings Q3 revenue, wow. 824 versus 760. Guidance beat, 850 to 900 versus 778. Adjusted EPS, 28 to 32 versus 21. Oh, those numbers are actually very good. Let's see here. Annualized contract value 1.16 versus 1.11. ARM China increased to about 25% of revenue. SoftBank rises. Yeah, they're big investors and they're still locked up a bit, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. What else are they saying? Let's take a peek at their numbers. Let's go look at it. ARM Investor Relations. Yeah, Mitch, I never implied ever that a company doesn't need chest pumping or that you know a company can do without that. It's what I never said. I said what you don't want, and we made this very clear in the Tesla video yesterday. What you don't want is a company that does the opposite, which is like spiting the investor relations community and providing no insights and basically spiting everybody, and then not performing. So, total revenue, 824 mil, it's a solid growth here. Cost of sales is like nothing. Look at their gross profit. Holy crap. I mean, the margin is absolutely incredible. So you're looking at, 36 in cost, 824. Yeah, you're looking at like a 96% margin here, which is incredible. Now they do spend a lot of money on the OpEx here, so their OpEx growth is high. So their R&D just jumped 432 divided by 286. Their research and development's up 50%. SG&A is up 32%. So they had operating income here of 132 million. And their revenue grew by 788 divided by 695. Revenue grew by about 13%. Well, rather their gross profit. That's interesting. Well, what did their revenue grow by? Yeah, it should be about the same. It just depends on their margin here. Year over year. Yeah, we only grew by about 13.8%. So it's not so much the Q4 that was so remarkable. I think it's the fiscal year guide. Yeah, lower OpEx on fiscal year guide and greater EPS forecast. Yeah, gross margin at 96.7%. That's nuts. I mean, basically, it doesn't cost them anything to do what they do. So, ARM. Let's see here. $10 minutes until the market opens. So what do we got here? This is your licensing for you know, code bases basically. And it's once you got the set, you just sell it. It's amazing. Security IP. I'm gonna take a peek at that. Layered security. ARM provides a range of security IP designed to protect against various attacks. When considering how to secure a system on a chip or device, it's essential to start thinking about the platform. Very cool. Cool. All right, let's get to the sticks here. So ARM destroying, up 27%, almost at $100. Really impressive. You've got the Q is almost flat. Ralph Lauren's up 5.82. Disney's up 8%. Enphase is flat. New York Community Bank's down 2%. Tesla's up 70 bips. Palantir's up another 1.31. Let's see here. Yeah, how's Lilly doing today? Eli Lilly. LLY. Yeah, they were up about 3% yesterday. They've been doing very, very well. How can the banking crisis affect the everyday consumer? I actually don't think it really will. The biggest risk would be lower rents, which is actually a benefit to consumers. Okay. What else? Next step. Shipping bosses warn Red Sea security getting worse, not better. I don't understand how we can get into the Red Sea with our military and the security gets worse and not better. That just blows my mind. But anyway, major shipping companies are warning that the security situation in the Red Sea is continuing to deteriorate, despite efforts by the West to limit attacks. They felt the threat level was continuing to escalate. That's Maersk and Norden. Japanese shipping giant Mitsui OSK Lines says the disruption could last for a year. Area has grown more volatile after airstrikes. We've not seen any level of threat peak. To the contrary, the amount or range of weapons that are being used for attacks is expanding, and there is no clear line of sight to when and how the international community will be able to mobilize itself to guarantee safe passage. Wow. You need to be de-escalating that situation, and that does not seem to be happening at this point. It seems like we're escalating. Yep.
And what I think is really going on here, David, is that they've figured out where, you were talking about where the eyeballs are. They have a great direct-to-consumer. They have terrific exposure in so many different markets. You know, TikTok or Instagram, they do everything. But yeah, the best thing about this, David, is that we're starved for a name and apparel that has staying power. We know that a lot of them have been very challenged. VF Corp.
Right. How about Lulu? How about Lulu?
Well, that's the highest end. This is a lower multiple.
Okay.
And I just think that look at what he's done here. I mean, it's just the most consistent. And why is that? Because Ralph Lauren stuff is indeed timeless. So I just think if you want apparel, I do like it. What do you got?
I'm wearing it. I'm wearing Ralph right now.
See, I have a Super 200 Brioni that I got because I could have bought a unit in your apartment, but instead I got this.
There it is.
Yeah.
Hey, like that?
Oh my God! Yeah. You have a Ralph Lauren, and you look pretty good.
Thank you.
You look real good in that. Anyway, he's the spokesperson, and that's why the stock could go to 170.
All right, we'll keep an eye on shares of Ralph.
Patrice is going to just love you. He is going to love you because you didn't plan on that, right?
No,
there you go.
We got a lot of other stocks to watch this morning. Obviously, we're going to keep an eye on shares of PayPal.
Oh yeah, you brought us PayPal. Thank you.
And
Jim's
having quite a morning, so who knows what's to come. Opening bell, though, definitely 5 minutes from now. Stay with us.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see if the estimates, by the way, have changed at all for L stonks via CPI. So CPI's estimate still 0.2, 0.3, 2.9, 3.7. Okay, so that's not a big deal. So basically, same numbers that we've been expecting. Again, this CPI print we're looking for next week, next Tuesday, the 13th. I keep messing that up. Double checking. Yeah, it's the 13th. So 5:30 a.m. on the 13th, California time. We get our good old CPI. Until then, the biggest thing is going to be the revision set tomorrow. And then, so tomorrow's Friday. Then next week, after CPI, it'll get more entertaining in terms of catalysts, at least. We'll get retail sales. We'll get jobless claims. We'll get... Let's go out a little bit more. Let's get to like the end of the month. Oh, leap year. So we will get import prices, PPI on the 16th. So that's 3 days later. So that's what, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday we'll get PPI as well as University of Michigan. PPI is expected to come in at 0.1%. That's the current expectation. So you're not actually really seeing a big push there on PPI either. So, I mean, we'll see if we match expectations. And then PCE towards the end of the month, you'll actually get it on that leap year day, the 29th. But there's no estimate for that at this point. And that's normal. And does normally take... You usually only get the estimates when you're within maybe about 10 days is when the estimates start looking pretty good. Like the CPI ones now. Those look pretty good. Let's see how many estimates we actually have for the CPIs. So if I go to the one everybody cares about, CPI core month over month. See how many estimates we have today. Looking for 0.3. Wow, it's a perfect distribution. Low estimate 0.2, high estimate is 0.4. 59. We only have out of 59 economists, we actually only have 10 estimates right now. And the average is exactly 0.3, so it's not like you're skewing in one direction or the other. Pretty well distributed. Yeah, alright. Link for the real estate course? It's simple. Go to meetkevin.com and then just scroll down a little bit. You'll see it. It's right there. Meetkevin.com. New York Community Bank giving up about 4% after yesterday's 6% rally. Oh yeah, the good little nowcast. Did that tick up from 1.3 then? Well, there's Trueflation, and then I think the nowcast is Dallas. Trueflation today shows 1.41. I always think that one's off by about 0.5% though. And then Dallas nowcast, I'm pretty sure it is. Fed inflation, not the weather. Is it Dallas or is it Cleveland? Anyway. Trimmed mean PCE inflation rate. No. Trueflation isn't true. That's funny. It's a Cleveland Fed that does the nowcast. And it has core CPI at 0.31, which roughly aligns with the current estimate of 0.3. We shall see. All right. Getting close to the bell.
That money's in the wrong place. That you just think you're so cozy earning 5, but that ends up looking very silly versus what you can own in a basket of very high-profile, good companies that we all know.
So the animal spirits are still to come.
Animal spirits. Yeah. I mean, I was doing more work on it in video last night. I can't believe there's more work to do. But, I mean, we just keep getting more use cases for what they're doing. And I think that you're going to start seeing next quarter lots of people are either being switched to more productive jobs or being fired with AI.
Let's get today's opening bell underway. At the big board, it's Best Friends Animal Society. And at the NASDAQ, celebrating an IPO, Kyverna Therapeutics, focused on the treatment of autoimmune disease.
Hard stuff to do. Let's use Apple as an example. Since the beginning of the year, Davidson has had a hold because they say they're not innovative. And then yesterday they came out and they said, listen, we're raising our price target from 160.
Alrighty. So let's see how L Market's opening. Let's see. Tesla looks like we got a nice fat red candlestick right there. We'll see how that ends up balancing out, but you're up about 15 bips there. ARM 25, 26. It did have a little bit of a sell down of a couple percent there going in. BABA down another 2%. Roblox goes up 2%. We've got Enphase sitting at 156. New York Community Bank drops 5.7, giving up that guide from yesterday. Look at that. Now sitting at 5.5 to the downside. You've got Nvidia down about 1/3%. PayPal, ooh, dropping more, down 9.38. KWeb down 251. Dave & Buster's is, where is it? Up almost 1% there, sitting at almost 55 bucks. Okay. How's Apple moving at the open? All over the place. Pretty flat. FICO's up 9/10. And VIX is up a little bit. Tesla's holding on to that green with a couple basis points there, not much. PayPal's trying to recover, still sitting at about 9%, 8.5%. New York Community Bank now at 6%. Flip to the other side here. Oops. We're looking at 30% on ARM. Look at Ralph Lauren. That popped here at the beginning. Let's open that up. Yeah, look at that. Ralph Lauren up 11% here at the open. That might be people front running. I think they mentioned the CEOs hopping on CNBC. Usually those interviews pump the stock a little bit for them traders. So we shall see. Here's Trade Desk. Where is it? 7 bips up. Okay. Take a look at El Sudis. Junior bonds become canaries in the coal mine as property bites. The credit market is acting like the canary in the coal mine against the U.S. commercial real estate woes spreading to Europe. Well, yeah, I believe that. I think the biggest risk is rent declines. Let's see here. You're on your own if you expect yields to go higher this year. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, you got like 3% of people who think that. Fed rate. Let's take a peek at what the current estimate is. Oh, and then we should look at 5-year break even. It's been a minute since we've done that. So, going into March, 17% chance of a cut. May, sitting at about 90.5% of a cut. So May is almost fully priced in. If that's the Fed's goal, then that the market seems to be aligning with that. 5-year break even sitting about 2.29. Yeah, 2.9 would be a problem. So that's been pretty stable. A little up since the beginning of the year. Wow, the 5-year forward plummeted. It's now lower than the next 5 years. That's crazy. I wonder if I could put these over each other to show you that. 5-year break. I've not seen that flip before. Let's see, maybe it happens more frequently than I think. Let's see. Let's go to, let's start at like June or something. There we go. Ooh. Wow, what a weird split. I mean, I guess, let's look at it together. Hold on one sec. Take me one sec to pull this up, but that is a bizarro split. You've basically, remember what these break-evens are. So there's the 5-year break-even, which is what the market expects inflation might be over the next 5 years. And then there's the 5-year forward, which is basically saying 5 years from today, what do we think inflation is going to be for the next 5 years thereafter? So this takes a little bit of thinking, but you know, once you kind of visualize that, it makes more sense. All right, so let's get into this. Hide myself for a moment. Okay, this, let's see here, which one's which? The 5-year forward is the white line, and the 5-year break even, so the next 5 years, is the blue line. And so this is very interesting. Let's see here. Give me one sec. I'm just writing down the course member live there really quick. Okay, there we go. Let me get that out. Okay, so let's look at this. Get a little arrow here. All right. So what you could see is the next 5 years have actually seen their inflation tick up a bit, although that's not at like a particularly high level. It's just been very volatile over the last 6 months. This spread, though, between the two is very odd. That all of a sudden you're getting this projection for much lower inflation in the next 5 years after the next 5 years. That's so weird. Usually they go together. See, here both are up, here both are down. Here they're down, here they're up. Here you have a spread, but see the near term 5 years went up and the long term went down. When can anybody here see the white line going down while the blue is going up? Maybe here? But they ended up aligning pretty quickly. So I guess it'd be something to watch. Yeah, but blue line usually almost always traces the white here. So this perfect divergence here is a little odd. Because even when this started coming down, you would have already been at these levels. You would have been high. So it just there was just a small lag in it coming down. But them actually going in opposite directions, I haven't seen that before. So that's very interesting. Sort of implying, oh yeah, more inflation for the next 5 years, but then it'll come down. Okay. Roblox now up 4%, Coinbase up 5%, Disney's almost at 10%, Ralph Lauren 10.5%, ARM Holdings 36%. Go to the dark side, 23andMe, PayPal, New York Community Bank. Oh, New York Community Bank down 9% now. You've got, what else here? Tesla's down about 1/3%. RIP. Where's the button?
Lost the lead.
Oh. And let's see here. Fun chart. Look at the national debt. Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, well, I'll look at that, but not right now. But yeah, the national debt's just absolutely blown up, and I expect it will continue to for a while. Sadly, the truth. But again, I don't necessarily see it as a big concern at this very moment, but it will continue to become more of a concern. So how about, so Tesla's down about 2/3 now of a percent. Why is the bank getting hit hard? I mean, I don't really trust them. I think they have problems, but let's see here. New York Community Bank, individual news. Okay. Higher capital standards. Aha. Okay, interesting. Elizabeth Warren talking about higher capital standards. Yeah, but I don't know how much is that really going to matter. That's the only news I have this morning, though. Oh, no, there is a cut to neutral at D.A. Davidson. So a cut and talk about higher cap standards. Yeah, but that kind of movement, 9%? That's a lot. And whatever happened to 23andMe? Like, why is their stock getting so smoked? I don't think they figured out how to go profitable. Oh, they had earnings yesterday. That's why. They see revenue at 215 to 220 versus 255 to 275. So that's a pretty big cut. And then you have an EBITDA loss forecast of about another 182 million. So they're going to lose another 182 million. And they lost a little bit more in this last quarter. CEO weighs splitting up the DNA company as delisting looms. Wow. It might end up getting delisted. I actually like this service. I mean, I I have the little 23andMe thingy. Yeah, I mean, all of the SPACs have a class action lawsuit. I don't really say that the class action lawsuits are why these stocks are down. It's like redundant. But yeah, I was looking at we were playing with our 23andMe yesterday because Lauren has it as well, and Lauren's like, I'm 99.7% European is what she says. I'm like, oh yeah? And I take mine out and it's like 99.9. I'm like, gotcha. Anyway, look at that. ARM is just absolutely destroying. Look at that. Look at that run. I mean, their profit margin is insane. It's the OPEX that's very interesting. Okay. So let me see if we have any other comments here from the suits. Yellen. No, she's not. Where is she talking? Reuters. Yellen says the Treasury is planning on proposing a rule that would make investment advisors subject to AML requirements. Okay. Commercial real estate. At almost all recent meetings, it's obvious that there's going to be banking stress. Losses associated with commercial real estate. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I have heard that you need more Asians using 23andMe, that there's just not enough data yet. It's very interesting. Okay. Bitcoin sits at 45. Baba's down another 3.7. Yikes. Costco's up again. Tesla's down almost a whole %. And Enphase up a couple %. Palantir, you got a little red candle coming through there. All right, what are the suits saying? Barkin. Richmond Fed president said on TV, on Bloomberg TV, that that deals a blow to multiple rate cuts priced in the market. Unless the economy turns south, the Fed won't be jumping in with rate cuts, Barkin said. Commercial real estate is a known risk at this point, and he expects the banking system has enough capital to weather it. The worsening sell-off in the regional bank shares this week sparked a bid for treasuries. New York Community Bank down again now. Oh, Barkin could have contributed to that. Interesting. Oh, Barkin. Is he voting this year? Let's see. FOMC meeting schedule. There we go. Yep. Barkin's a voter. Powell, Williams, Barkin, Barr, Bostic, Bowman, Cook, Daly, Jefferson, Kugler, Mester, and Waller. Those are your talkers and voters. Barkin. Job data has been remarkable across the board. Don't have to be in a hurry to cut. Conceivable neutral has risen. Would like to see disinflation for a few more months. February, March, April. Get to that May meeting. Sustained broadening disinflation before cuts. Yeah. Banks, enough capital to weather the risk. If the economy turns south, there's a case for a cut. Yes. Fed is not focused on U.S. debt. Oh. All right. Is Foolsby voting? He is an alternate member. So, unless one of the others doesn't show up, no, he's not. He's one of the more dovish ones, too. Q's slightly negative. About 8 bips to the downside right now. And what else we got here? PayPal's at 9.11 to the downside. Carnival Cruise Line stuck at $15 still. What else is falling? There's just Polestar. Wow. All right, very good. We're going to head on over to Course Member Live. Let's push the button. Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is neither personalized financial advice nor real estate advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show should not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purpose of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services which we may benefit from. I personally operate and actively manage ETF and hold long positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuers other than HouseHack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. All right, folks, thanks so much for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.